And I actually remember my family saying when I first went to the European Championship in 2014 that they said, you can't use all your money on traveling there. But I was like, watch me, I can. So I was working, all the money was mine. And I organized the traveling with other people going to the championship. So my parents were never with me on anything of this. And I just did everything alone. I bought him when I was 18. And I remember my dad saying, if you buy this dog, you're not welcome here anymore. And I was like, that's your problem. I'm going to move out. So I went down, picked up the dog. And then he understood that, okay, there's no way back. So she's going to take this dog no matter what we say. So the whole arena was like, people were not only clapping, they were just like jumping. So the whole arena was so loud. And I remember the girl standing there saying, it's your turn. Come on, you have to go inside the ring. And I was like, nope, I'm not taking my poor dog into this. We made me the handler I am today because he learned me a lot of handling. But all the other dogs made me the dog trainer I am today.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Champion's Journey. Today I have Ina Himle. Ina is from Norway, and she said yes to share her story, which I look really forward to because I know a part of it, but I don't know everything. So that's going to be fun. And if you're a new listener to this podcast, the purpose of the podcast is really to have a tool that you can build your growth mindset by listening to stories of other people who have been champions, and such as Ina, who has been to the World Championships and got medals, and learn from their journey what they had to overcome to get to the level of performance they're at, and what you can learn from it. And with that, it's basically over to you, Ina. Hi.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me here. It's quite cool to be invited to this podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's we've known each other for a couple of years now. I think the first time I met you was at AWC in 2018 in Sweden, actually.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was a big year for me, so yeah.
that was a big year for you. And I don't think you remember seeing me, but it could be.
Yeah, I remember actually because you were sitting on the Norwegian tribune, and you were talking a lot with the breeder of my Sheltie. So I remember it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about your story because, as we mentioned, the AWC in 2018, that was when you got an individual goal.
Yes.
But there's a story before that. And would you take us back to tell us when you started with agility and how was life before you started with agility?
Okay, so I didn't have a life before agility. So that, just to make that clear, no, I can't remember anything from a life before agility. I started already, I think I was about 6 years old. So, yeah, 6, 7 years old when I started to run a little. We have this children runs back in the days where children that could run with even grade 3 dogs in easier courses. So I ran with my mom's mixed breed called Whiskey. He was a border collie mixed breed. And I was so frustrated because everything he wanted to do is to run out of the course and to my mom. So that was very annoying for a girl 7 years old. But when we did some runs and a little bit of training, and I can remember really good a run. It might be that I remember it wrong, but in my mind, I remember it as my mom said to me, because I wanted to run a run with him, and he was in grade 3, and this was a normal competition, so I had to run the grade 3 course. And she said to me that, no, you can't do this, it's too hard. And I took that as a challenge, like, oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna show her I'm better than her. So I ran it clean in my head. It might be that it wasn't, but at least we got a podium and I was really happy.
That's cool. I think sometimes it's the most important thing is what you can remember, but at least it's a
Yeah.
good story and a good feeling.
Yes, absolutely.
You started when you were about 6, 7 years old. That's it's not many agility handlers that start that early and persist. So what do you think is like, if you look back now, what is the reason why you've persisted for so many years?
It's a very good question. I think in the beginning it was just my parents doing agility, so I just followed along, and that was just my life. We were at competitions not every weekend, but many weekends. So that was just a part of my life. But also I think that feeling when I did, I was able to run the course clean, and I felt like I had, uh, like the team you got with the dog and the feeling you got after, I felt like success and the teamwork uh, and also the feeling of convincing my mom that I was good enough was also, or better than her. It was really good. So I think that might be why. And I really wanted my own dog, and of course, you don't get your own dog when you're 6, 7 years. So I got to my grandparents and cried and convinced them that when they lost their German shepherds, they said no more dogs for us because we're quite old. And I said to them, but a Sheltie is almost like a cat. You can just buy a Sheltie. And it took some months, and I convinced them to buy a Sheltie. So that's my first Sheltie, and I was 9 years old when they bought her. So that was my first own dog. It was not my dog, but I trained her. Um, so it was only me training her, and yeah, poor dog.
What would you think looking back, if you were to see footage of your runs and your training back when you were 6, 9 years old?
What I'm thinking is that I'm really unfair to the dog because everything was about me. You are so selfish at that age, and I really was so frustrated every time she did something wrong. She didn't listen to me, and in competitions in the beginning, she just ran off and said hello to all the people around the course, and I was so frustrated. And when you get frustrated, of course, the dog doesn't want to be with you. So yeah, that's maybe unfair. That's what I'm thinking. But also the dog, she was very happy. She didn't care at all. She was just like, that's your problem. So it was a really good dog to start with. Yeah.
That's up to you to fix, not my problem.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So when did you learn to sort of let go of that frustration and get into a different mindset?
Mm, Gradually, I saw that, oh, she had big problems with staying in the start line. So eventually, I saw that uh, being strict and consistent with her would make her do it better. My mom had told me this all the time, but I wouldn't listen because you all everything I wanted was to run. So of course you don't want to DQ yourself before the run even start in that age. So I always just ran because I wanted to just get the podium and the prizes that was there. So it was when I retrained her contacts. It was when I saw that I started to see that, okay, but putting into putting in the work and the effort and being consistent also give her more clarity on what she should do. And then our teamwork start developing a lot, and we eventually got to the Norwegian Championship. At that time, it was on Dogs for All in November every year. So I remember running that with her. That was the last because we moved from the west side of Norway to the east side. So I moved from my childhood home with my father to the east side. So just to show how crazy I was already at that age. I can't remember how old I was, maybe 13 or something. I took the train from Eidsvoll to Oslo, then from Oslo to Voss. It's about 8, 9 hours of train. uh, to one weekend to pick her up. Came back home on a Sunday, competition weekend, the weekend after, and the weekend after that, took the train back both ways just to deliver her to my grandparents. So it was like 3 weekends in a row with just traveling just to compete with her.
And you traveled alone?
I traveled alone. Dedicated.
Dedicated. Yeah, that's
Yes. My parents just was like, okay, but you can't do this. But I did it. No problem.
another challenge.
Another challenge, yes. But of course, eventually I understood that this is not going to work long term because you have school and you have everything. So I saved up all my money. So when I was 15, I bought my own dog.
Cool. So
Yeah.
you borrowed a dog in the beginning. Then you had a share responsibility in terms of training the dog for your grandparents.
Yes.
And then you bought your own dog at 15.
Yes. So
Yeah.
quite gradually.
What was the name of
So
that
it's
dog?
my first dog, or the one I borrowed.
Yeah. The
My
your
first,
first dog at 15.
yeah, my first dog, 115. His name is Key.
Key, yeah.
Yeah. So that he started everything actually. So my real agility career started with him. Yeah.
And that was a
It
Sheltie
was,
as well.
yeah, it was a Sheltie. It was a good first dog, and it was a really good dog for me being 15 years old. So he trained like we did at that time. Um, yeah, he was a really good dog. And when I started, I don't know, the school system, but high school, I also traveled with him. So I did, it was like a dog line, so dog education on that
Mhm.
school. So I brought him to school. So he was really the best dog I could wish for at that point.
And was that about the same time things started to change in terms of ambitions, what you wanted to do with agility and so on?
Absolutely. So with him, I had big dreams. I didn't think I could reach them. But already in 2014, I think, we traveled to the junior European champion. It was at that time. Now it's called the junior world champion, I think. So we traveled to Italy competing. So of course, only disqualifications, but it was a really really cool um, experience. And the same year, I qualified for European Open. So I was 18 years old, I think 17 and a half or something for my first European Open.
12 years into your agility career.
Yeah, it took some time.
It took some time, but yeah, but that's it's really cool. And was the Chi wasn't the name?
Key, key, yeah,
E?
key,
Yeah.
yes, Kee, yeah.
Was that the dog that sort of changed the game for you?
Yeah, he was a dog that really needed motivating. He was not running very fast, but he was consistent and quite good at running clean. So tasting the national team with him, I really wanted more. And since he wasn't the fastest, I did what I could with him. But since he wasn't the fastest, when I was 18, I bought We. I'm very, yeah, my names are not the best. So Kiwi, and later I got G. So yeah, but I bought We at 18. Yes, so he wasn't really the one starting it all, but he was quite heavy builded, not very fast. Uh, so yeah,
But
but he was really good.
do you think that sometimes that it could be smart that one of your first dogs are a bit slower, that you can get more the feeling of flow and control?
Yeah, absolute. I think if I would have gotten We when at the time I got Key, I wouldn't be where I am today because you don't know how to manage the speed. And Key was really uh, he was a kind dog. So even though I did something wrong, or maybe my training wasn't the best for him, he just like, okay, but I'll do it in a way. So he was a really kind dog. So I think that really helped me a lot. Uh, I think if I would have gotten weed that has all this ground speed from the very beginning, it would have been so much harder for me. So with Key, I learned about Sylvia Trickman. So that also made it a lot easier for me training weed later because I already had the tools on how I wanted to train. So he developed like a system, training system, and yeah, that it was just the best thing I could wish for just starting agility.
And we are now back in 2014, that's 16, 17.
Yeah, he ran AVC in 2015. So that was the first time I ever ran the world championship. So that was a big, big dream, and I would never thought of it, or of course dream of it as a little girl. But I really didn't think that that would be possible for me at that age, and I really thought that that would be something in the future. And I actually remember my family saying when I first went to the European Championship in 2014 that they said you can't use all your money on traveling there. But I was like, watch me, I can. So I was working, all the money was mine, and I organized the traveling with other people going to the championship. So my parents were never with me on anything of this, and I just did everything alone. And also, when competing, I remember taking the bus and the train and carpooled with everyone. So I own a lot of people a carpool. Yeah.
We can scratch that from the podcast so we don't remind them of the debt
Yeah,
that you
that's
have.
smart. Smart.
But how was it? Let's go back to your first European Open. How was that for you in terms of the experience as a whole?
I remember actually thinking that this would be just like this is a huge opportunity and a huge experience for me. I was, of course, a little nervous, but I think when you're that young, you're not thinking that much. I think I'm thinking a lot more now and overthinking things. So I didn't overthink it, and I had very good teammates running teams, so they all cheered. And we actually were the first team qualifying for team final in a long, long time for Norway. So that was a really, really cool experience. Um, yeah, I that's what I remember from the competition. Other than it was really hot because it was in Hungary in July, so it was really, really hot. Um, but yeah, I wasn't that nervous, just a little bit, and I just trusted him because he was the easy dog, so he could run a lot of clean runs. Um, so he was really helping me through that first competition as well because I really trusted him. Yeah.
Yeah, and that helps a lot when you do with someone you trust, compared to if you're running your first big competition with a wild one,
Wild card,
a
yeah,
wild
yeah.
card. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But I think also when
absolutely.
you go to championships like European Open and the World Championships, it's normal to be a little bit nervous.
It should be. You should
You should
be.
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And I remember also the feeling of seeing all the big stars you're
Yeah.
following in this. At that time, it was YouTube, so I was always looking a lot on YouTube videos of the big stars and learning on how they did their handling and stuff like that. So I remember just being a little starstruck.
But what did that do to you in terms of being on the same arena as the big stars? How did that change your beliefs about what you could do? And
Honestly, I don't think I thought that much of it uh, at that time. I I was just happy to be there and watching them and learning from them, and it was motivating to go home and do even more training and on um, work on. And I just got this feeling where you just want to go back. I think everyone that being in a championship know this feeling where you just I want to have more of this. So that was my feeling. Yeah,
Yeah, and I agree. It's kind of those are big events, and they're kind of a kick, and there's so much tension in the room, especially as you go through and qualify to the finals. But it's a fun game, and you want to replay it, but it demands a lot.
absolutely.
Then you have Key, and you went over to Wee, which was the
Yes.
faster dog.
Yeah, he's what I would say my dream dog, my soulmate. He, I bought him when I was 18, and I remember my dad saying, "If you buy this dog, you're not welcome here anymore." And I was like, "That's your problem. I'm gonna move out." So I went down, picked up the dog, and then he understood that okay, there's no way back. So she's gonna take this dog no matter what we say. So at that point, there was like they were saying like, if you're taking this dog, we are not paying anything anymore. And I said, that's fine. I am dedicated into this. I had a job and I got some money, and um, I also got a lot of help from the breeder of Key and Wee. So she was really helping me to put this litter together so I could get the dog I wanted. And he absolutely was amazing from the first weeks. He has been the happiest and most barky dog ever. And he was so willing to train. So we did a lot of trick training, again with Sylvia Trickman method. So we bought all her classes and did the puppy class and everything. Did a lot of tricks. The poor dog, I was still studying, so he was home alone from the very beginning, a very long time. At this time, I lived with my uncle in Oslo, and I didn't even tell them that I bought the dog because I was so afraid that they would say, "Okay, you can't live here anymore if you buy this dog." So went from 1 to 2 dog at a place that was not even mine. So poor them if they listen to this. But they were, yeah, so sweet. So I brought the puppy home.
Yeah, it's one of the things I really wanted with this podcast was to sort of map out the different sacrifices people have made to get to this point, because you see people at the top of the podium and you think, oh, how lucky they are. But when you sort of get this into perspective, that getting we was almost like being, or literally being kicked out of the
Yeah.
house and having to stand on your own feet. That's a huge sacrifice. Like, what what was the thing that told you, that inner voice, or that this made you take the decision that this is the right move? There was absolutely no evidence saying that that was a good move, but you did
It
it
was a
anyway.
good move though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I did it anyway. I just had the feeling that this is the puppy. This is the puppy I want, and it was for me personally. I think emotionally it was a perfect timing because I was like in the middle of places. I slept a little here and I slept a little there. I wasn't like I studied in Oslo. I was actually living in Eidsvoll. I Everything was just chaotic. So this dog made getting him was this my safe, like he was my safety person, but uh, just a dog. So I just had the feeling that this is gonna be good, and I'm willing to do the work and sacrifices, as you said. So everything I did was dog training, school, and work. That was everything. I thought I have not had a very social life. But I was lucky that I did this dog line, let's call it that, in school because all my friends were also dog persons. So that helped a lot. So we did a lot of, in the weekends, we were walking them and training them, a lot of obedience training, track training, and of course, I did a lot of agility. And also at that point, I got a neighbor at my uncle's place that was also starting with agility. So we traveled once a week to Jan Egil to take classes to get them trained. At that point, I didn't have any indoor place to train. So when he was a puppy, he trained maximum once a week maybe every other week, because it was quite expensive taking these classes. So he did very little training. So that, I think, with him being the star he was, as he was a star already very young, he moved to grade 3, got a champion within, I think he was 20 months old. He was just, yeah, he was just amazing. And I think people outside was saying, okay, this dog has to be trained a lot. And he literally was the dog trained. He's a dog that I trained less than any of my dogs later as well. Even with more knowledge now, he did not have a lot of training, because during the winter it was really hard to get to a place to train. So of course he trained a little bit more during the summer, but he was just very smart. And with, actually, when training him, when he was competing in grade 3, I thought I had the recipe on how to train or get a good agility dog. I thought that, because I just followed every step from Sylvia's classes, and he just fit into all the boxes. It was just, everything was just like check, 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 check. And of course, we had some problems, but looking back now with the dogs I've had later, it was really not problems. It was just a little bit more work. So we were just connected somehow. And even in my handling, I've never felt this feeling I had with him. He could read my mind.
Yeah, and I remember you telling that when you visited us here, um, we had dinner, and it was what I really found unique with your story, especially with we, was that not only was it a great dog to train, but like you said, there was something about connection and something about you two against the world, that made that pretty unique. Um,
Yeah, that last part I also think is a little bit the timing. I think many people can see themselves in the same um, position sometimes. If you're in a, I wouldn't say a bad place, but it was a chaotic place in my life. He was just a stable thing, and I think that also helps you build the bond between you and the dog, because the timing was just perfect. I needed him, and he was just there for me.
yeah, then it becomes more than just a dog.
Yes, it was
Yeah,
absolutely. He is absolutely more than just a dog.
yeah. And so you managed to qualify for the national team.
Yes.
Was 2018 the first year where when you qualified for the national team with we?
No, he was running the AVC in 2017 as well. So at that point, we had 3 weekends of uh, tryouts, or was it two? I can't actually
I
remember. I
think it
think
was
maybe
three.
two. Yeah, yeah, it was more than one at least. And I remember the first weekend, I went there with no expectations, because I had this dog that I really believed could be something one day. But he was, at that point, he must have been under 2.5 years, because the trial was in April and he's born late November. So, or mid November. So it has to be up 2.5 maximum. And I was like, he's way too young to qualify for anything. He's quite a wild card, because he was so fast and he loved tunnels. So the first weekend, I was shocked, because he did really good and he had the top score of points during that weekend. And of course, that got my hopes up, because I was like, oh, it might be that we can qualify anyway. And then we went to the second weekend and he was the wild card again. So I remember, I think we came through one run that weekend. But that also happened with quite many others. So we placed second, I think, and was qualified for AVC. So he was not even 3 when he ran his first world championship. And he did really good. He did one clean run. Oh, now can't remember the tiny details. I think he placed in one of the team runs. He placed third or fourth or something like that in individual ranking. So that was quite surprising for me. I knew he was fast, but I wasn't thinking that he was really that fast that he could be on the really top with the fastest dogs. And he ran a clean run in qualifications. So it was a jumping run individually, and he placed 10th or something like that. So, and he had a really wide turn. I know that's not an excuse, but for me, it was also a good indicator that this dog has the potential to actually be top 10 in the world championship. So it was a really good experience for me with this young dog, and I really knew that he's gonna be somewhere one day.
Yeah, and one of the things that especially talk about when it comes to mental training is also building beliefs. And I think when it comes to, like you said, I saw that he had a wide turn. You know that you lose time when you have a wide turn.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's just the case. And I don't think necessarily people, maybe some use it as excuses. But the way that I think about it is that it's just an explanation, or it could also help you say that if you had a more short turn or narrow turn or a good turn there, you would probably be up amongst the top 5, top 3, and so on. And if you
yeah,
can leverage that to build belief that this dog can actually be in the world, the top of the world,
yeah.
then that gives you a boost. And I think people are perfectly allowed to do that.
Yeah, so I did that. Fueled it for me. I didn't do. I wasn't not expecting him to be there at all. So it was not an excuse for anything. It was just like, oh shit. With that wide turn, without it, we could be like it costed us at least half a second. So and top 10 between third and 10th place, I think it was half a second between there. So it was quite cool to see that he was actually as fast as the other dogs. And that, as you said, gave me fuel to continue working with him. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was back in 2017, so it was in Liberec in
Yes. Yes.
Czech.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
And then that gave you the fuel to start over for the next coming year. So how was
Yes.
that year leading up to 2018?
I'm a forgetful person, so I can't remember the details. I unluckily we had quite a lot of um, injuries during his career. So he was the craziest dog ever. He could that made also him very fast. He jumped from heights. I remember when he was 1 year old, he jumped out of uh, the barn, and it was like 4 meters into the ground. Totally crazy, and he did a lot of stuff like that. So he had some toe injuries, and I am pretty sure, yeah, in 2018, it's that year, he injured himself just before the tryouts. And the tryouts that year was in Bergen, I think, yeah. And I remember just being so sad that we were not able, again, we didn't have the best conditions during the winter time. And then leading up to the tryouts, you really wanted to have some training outdoor just before the tryouts. And he couldn't train. So he was just not training at all. So I think he didn't even train before the tryouts. And because actually I will move back to the Christmas and half a year before the tryouts, because we had the tryouts 2 weekends, I think it was in 2017, and then they changed it to 1 weekend, and I was so frustrated. I remember I was woke up one day and I was feeling so angry about it being 1 weekend. You can't do anything about it, and I don't even know why I was so angry about it. It was just that I knew that for him and with all his injuries, 1 weekend meant that you have to be really on top that weekend and everything is on stake. So actually, I reached out to a mental trainer that year. So just because I was feeling so frustrated and I was a little embarrassed because I was like, why? Like, you can't do anything about this. You can't change I can't do anything that is just one weekend. So I reached out to a mental trainer and talked a lot with her up the time from Christmas or New Year until the tryouts. So we did a lot of work. I learned a lot, working on how to be prepared and how to manifest what you want. So we worked on this. The mindset then was mainly for me that I needed to believe, or I was working on believing that I could qualify again and that we were able to um, do all these clean runs in one weekend because I didn't believe that. So that was what we did. I wrote every day down in a journey that we are going to AVC this year. And then the AVC came up and we disqualified all the runs on Friday. I was, or maybe we got one with one fault, but anyway, we had no points. I was so frustrated. And then I was like, okay, but it's a new day tomorrow. It's going to be fine. And then Saturday came. We had 3 runs that day and all disqualifications. And then during the evening, I was like, okay, this is it. We're out. We didn't qualify this year. I need to like suck it up. And I talked with my mental trainer again and was like, this mental state is not working for me because I was putting so much pressure and I was just thinking about the price in the end, and it didn't work at all. So what I changed, I talked with her during the week, late Saturday, and she tried to like get me to think about a weekend or a day, competition day, where we did have 3 clean runs and think about that and trying to, yeah, get that feeling into your body, watching your clean runs, just getting your mindset to 0. So I decided that, okay, AVC is over. I wanted to give up the dream already on Saturday. And I think that was good for me because later on, for me, that type of mindset didn't work. It didn't work telling myself that this is where I'm going. So I needed to be more humbled because, of course, you want to qualify. Of course, I want to be there. So I needed to be a little bit more humbled about it. And then I changed my mindset to I want to show them who should have been there. I want to show them what we can do. And then he did all 3 clean runs on Sunday and qualified. So
That's a really cool story. And for everyone that's listening to the podcast, I actually would advise you to go over that story one more time because there's so many important nuggets in it. So let me just recap because there's 2 things there. One is that at the tryouts, you figure out what didn't work, which is great because then you can make adjustments. And then you managed to change your mindset there and then. But you had also done a substantial amount of work to create or change your default mindset, your beliefs before the event. And I think that is what mental training is. I think a lot of people just think mental training is just a quick fix there and then, but it can be, but it also is training. You don't you don't train the day before tryout and hoping that it goes well. You do it consistently over time.
yeah.
I'm jumping in from the sideline here while I'm doing the editing of this podcast. And if you're wondering about where you can start and where you can learn about mental training, I really advise you to go to dogagilityperformance.com and go to the community section. There we have the Agility Mindset community, which is all about learning together with other people the skills of mental training. There you have access to online courses and resources, and then you can also share your wins, take challenges, and learn more about how you can build new beliefs about what is possible for you and your dog, like Ina did. But you can also learn strategies that will help you to shift your mindset in a short notice while you're at an important competition. And these are skills, and you can learn them, and you can do that by going to the dogagilityperformance.com. Let's go back to the podcast.
Yeah, and what we worked a lot on was that I can't change. Like it was really easy for me to fixate over the small things that you can't change. So that's one of the things I think one of the first things you learn when you do mental training, that you can't fixate over things you can't do anything about. So, for example, your competitors, you can't do anything about them. You can't do anything about the surface when you're first there. You can't do anything about the course design. You just have to show up and do your best. But for me, it was, and I think for many people, this type of mindset where you're just like manifesting and thinking, this is where I want to go. But it just didn't fit me. So, and that's also, it was a very good experience. So leading from the tryout to AVC, I knew that this didn't work. So I changed it, and that didn't really work. So I worked a lot on from changing what I wanted to really look at the price. I changed to more that what I could do about it. So I really needed to stay focused. I really need to do my best. And if I did, I'm gonna be happy about it anyway, because this result does really not matter that much. It's in the end just a silly dog sport.
In the end, yeah, if you put it into perspective, yeah, it's just a silly dog sport. But I also would like to quote one of the Norwegian coaches at the track. So the coach of Karsten Warholm, he says that in the big picture, it doesn't mean much, but to us, it does.
It does. It does mean a lot.
Yeah.
But for me, it meant so much that I needed to have something holding me back, because I was so disappointed if I didn't succeed that I just fell down. I really fell in to the basement. So I really needed to have something to look, if it didn't work, use it as fuel to do all the work all over again, and also be happy that your dog is there, because in the end that's just what you want. You want to be with your best friend.
Yeah. And it's what you sort of suffered from was hyperintention. So this strong, too big intention of winning and qualifying, going back to the AWC to show what we can do. But then, fortunately, you switched and you actually got to focus more on what we let us show them what we can do, and then you focus back into the task at hand and drawing out the potential of the team, and that is, I think that's sort of another story emphasizing that you need to focus on what you need to do, not what
Yeah.
you will get from it.
Yes, absolutely. So, and it also learned me a lot of like the mental training. It just learned me how a lot, because over that part I had this type of mindset, and then I needed to change it, and I worked towards the ABC, and then I worked towards the tryouts in 2019, and it was just a totally opposite in 2019 than 2018. So for me, then I was calm. I was not feeling stressed at all. Slightly bit of nervous, but not like a lot. I remember being sick, so that was stressing me a little. Again, you can't do anything about it. So I started the first running at the tryouts then with the mindset I need to save myself. So I can't run as fast as I want to. I just need to do this just one run at a time. And then we just disqualified him jump number 2 because I wasn't focused. So I remember thinking that, okay, fuck it. If I'm only able to do 4 runs instead of 8, that's going to be 4 good runs instead of 8 bad. So, and he did, I can't remember how many clean runs, but he won the triad already one day before it was over, because he had so many clean runs and very good times with 5 faults, and in Norway you get points for that as well. So it was just a totally opposite. I felt above the whole situation and not underneath it, like I did the year before. I just felt in 2018 I was like crawling, trying to be somewhere I really wasn't. And in 2019 I could just relax a little.
And I want to take back to AWC in 2018. So back then I was maybe a year into working with agility people. And it was my first big event. So I went there just to watch and to learn. And I remember Irene, she was standing there almost dancing on the up on the stadium, visualizing the tracks. I remember you when you got the course map. You were sitting on the top behind the Norwegians. And you were just studying it intensely. That is
I
my
can't
memory of
remember
you.
this. Okay. I can't remember this.
But I remember that. And then could you tell us about the AWC back in 2018?
Absolutely. Again, I didn't have, actually, it was quite weird because I was not nervous at all. I was just with my best friend and I trusted him. So we did the team runs first. Again, he did one of them clean and one DQ for the team. And then again, he got, I think, third place or something individually ranking in the team run. So I knew that he had it in him being fast enough. And I tried to really not focus on the results. So because of the mental training, I was really just focused on our work. So doing the clean runs, I was just super happy with that. And then when we did them, of course, going into the, I'm trying to like replay it all. We went into the ring and I remember the feeling of trying to take control of the situation. And right in front of me was a Swedish girl running, and she ran clean. So the whole arena was like, people were not only clapping, they were just like jumping. So the whole arena it was so loud. And I remember the girl standing there saying, "It's your turn. Come on, you have to go inside the ring." And I was like, "Nope, I'm not taking my poor dog into this." And might be could be frightened, and it could be that he got totally crazy of it. So I remember just telling her off, like, "No, I'm waiting until people calm down." And I think that was a good thing, actually, because I felt in control. And that was one thing the team leaders was really good at that time, because he was a really stressed dog, Speedy. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but he was a really stressed dog, and he was barking a lot towards the ring. So our team leader was standing in the line for me, so I could just run in past everyone else, and then it was just like one more, and then it was me. So actually, this was from her saying that you can always just take control. And that's what I did. And the feeling of that gave you a feeling of control. So leading into the run, I had the feeling of control because I had told her off and I was just doing my own thing. And yeah, during the run, we were just in flow. And I remember I heard a bar and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, that happens." And then we came to the finish line and I was just super happy. I saw that it was a clean run. I was just very, very happy and I wanted to reward him. And I remember the feeling of, because I really didn't want to focus on the result, because I was so afraid to get disappointed, because I was in 2017, no, at the tryouts, I mean. So I really didn't want to focus on that. I just wanted to keep the feeling we had together doing this clean run and the sound in the arena and everything. So I remember going out of the arena and rewarding him and just enjoying the moment. And then people were coming like, you're leading. And I was like, yeah, but it's like 50 more dogs. So why focus on that? Because you can't do anything about the competitors. So I just wanted to been the feeling I had together with him when we came to the finish line. So I remember saying to them, I really don't care. Like, I really don't care. This was the run of our lives. And then they just kept on working on this or talking about this. And they were just, but you're still leading and it's only 40 dogs to go. And I was like, yeah, okay, we can focus on that later, but still I need to cool him down and do everything. And then Silas was running as one of the last competitors. And then he beat me. So he came over me on the board. And I was like, okay, shit, we're still on podium. And that's awesome. And eventually we had shared first place. So it was really cool because he was just an idol. I was just, okay, how can I be as good as him? That was super weird.
Oh, that's fun. But I really like that the mindset that you had, that it wasn't necessarily the result that is your fondest memory, is more the run that you had.
Yeah, because I learned at the tryouts that if I stay focused on the result, I get disappointed very easily. But if I focus on my performance, you will be happy. Because as long as you do your performance, even though if the dog doesn't, but in this situation, we both did our best performed run ever. And you can't do anything more than that.
Yeah, that's your part in the game. And then it's
Yeah.
up to coincidences and chance and circumstances to decide.
Yeah. And a little bit of luck.
And a little bit of luck. But
Yeah.
luck is part of the equation as well, I would say, but it's not something that you can control. But
No, absolutely not.
and I think that probably it's very human, but also a bit sad that when someone does a really great run, but they don't get on top of their, or even on the podium, they're just disappointed because the
I've been there.
expectation.
I've been there many times. Still am sometimes. It's of course you want the results, but that's why I really try hard. And that's what you said, that it takes time with the mental training. It's a road. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes we're just humans. So even though I know that I'm supposed to think like this, sometimes you think the other way around, and then you get disappointed with a run that is actually really good and you should be celebrating.
But then it's also allowed to learn from it, because as you say, it's like the result oriented mindset is our default mindset to most people. I probably met one person that is, yeah, I couldn't get through. He was just process oriented. He was so happy about everything.
Yeah.
But he was unique, and the rest of us are humans. And I think that the most important thing is to catch yourself when you're in the wrong mindset and focusing on the wrong things, and then make the change. And some people actually need to learn what process mindset is and start practicing it. So it's
Yep.
different from person to person.
But I learned a lot in that period about the mental training, and I have been able to bring it into my career later on. So it was really good for me to have all of those experiences, that it really didn't went the way I wanted it, and that I felt like, okay, this is something I feel confident with, just focusing on my performance and not the results.
As you were talking about the tryouts for 2019, my mind was just running around trying to figure out, where do we go in 2019?
In
Yeah, in Ölln. Yeah, I remember the
Yeah.
tryouts, but I couldn't remember where the AWC was. And then
It was
came,
in Finland.
it was in Finland.
Yeah, and
But-
that was a huge, that was a mental challenge.
Yeah.
Being 1 week from, we were, that year in 2019, we won the Norwegian Championship. He won the Nordic Championship. He did a third place at the European Open. So we were really, really in a flow. So that was absolutely his best year of his career. And I had trained a lot on the judges' course design. And that year, it was adjudged that it was not everything about the line, but you can choose left or right wing in many places during the course. And it was quite important to get to do the right choice so you save time. And we timed a lot, and I really felt so confident that we are in the best shape ever, both me and him. And also, I felt like I had control over the courses that I knew the judges was gonna build. And then 1 week before I remember I had started to pack. So I remember when we got the message that we're not allowed to go, it was so sad. I was devastated. I remember not looking at any runs from ABC that year. I was just so angry. Someone was stealing this from us. And when it turned out that the disease, it wasn't a disease, it was just a bacteria, I was even more frustrated because I was like, why did this happen to us? And but yeah, you just have to come stronger out of it because you can't do anything about it. And but the sad part of it is that after this in 2019, you had COVID in 2020. So this was actually, he only did two world championships in his career. And that's quite sad because he is really my soulmate. So it's quite sad that we didn't get to experience more of it together.
Yeah, I agree. And for the listeners that weren't on the national team of Norway, we have to create the context of what happened. And basically, it was that Norway wasn't allowed to go to the World Championship because there were several dogs that had severe diarrhea with blood and threw up and everything. And there were several dogs dying a week's time before the AWC. And it was made a decision that Norway is not allowed to go because we don't know the cause of it. But I remember Ailey, she was studying to become a veterinarian, and she was in the center of the whole thing because the school was the clinic that would receive all the dogs, and there was such a clear indication that owners that had several dogs, the dogs didn't get the same disease.
Yeah.
And she even had her own dog in the same area and same school, walked in the same yard because it was really clear. But it was just a decision in terms of reducing risk, and it was pretty sad.
I think it was a social media thing. It
Yeah.
blew up in social media, and yeah, and I understand the decision, even though it sucked for
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
I agree. And then of course COVID came and that was gone, and then was supposed to go to Russia, but then the war happened, and then
Yeah. Everything have happened. We had the Nordic Championship in 2021, and he did really, really good. We got 1 fault in the final run, so we didn't place anything individually, but we won the gold medal with our team, and he delivered only the clean runs with the team. So that was a really good competition for us as well. And that was his last championship before he got injured. Yeah.
because what happened next?
We were training for tryouts in 2022, it must have been. And what happened was that he was having a little limping, but I didn't see anything more than that. But it was weird because normally he was a crazy dog. So normally when he injured himself, it was because he had a crash or jumped into a wing or flew over the A-frame, and you knew that that was the reason. This time, it was no reason. Nothing had happened, and even then he was limping. And one day when I took him out, so he rested, and then I decided to do one more training with him, and I took him out of the car, and he couldn't move his head. So he was not able to move his head to the left at all. And when I came back home, he wasn't even able to lift his legs. So when I put a mattress in the living room to sleep with him there because he was in so much pain, he wasn't even able to walk onto the mattress. So I really thought I would lose him then. It turned out I took an MRI. It turned out it was a disc movement prolapse, we call it in Norwegian. I don't know what it's called in English, but
That's a displacement of a disc.
yes, and it was twisted, so it was turning to the left, and that's why the symptoms was to the left. So he was put on a lot of pain medications, and of course, even though it worked, because they were not able to operate him, because since it was twisted, it would be too risky to go in. So we were just crossing our fingers that the medication would work, and it did, luckily. And then he got the rehab, but I didn't want to put him back into agility because it could risk that he could get another one, or it could develop even more. And it have happened that he have had some pain later on as well after jumping down from things. But now he's luckily doing very good. So he's fully retired. It was a hard decision, or not a hard. No, it wasn't a hard decision. It was an obvious decision at the point. But of course, because we had for me, felt like stolen years and stolen world championships. I understand that that's not true, but that was the feeling I had. It was quite sad that we didn't get to do the tryouts and one more AVC because that was my dream. But I'm very lucky that he is happy.
Yeah, and that's going back to what you can control and what you cannot control.
Yeah.
Which is always the challenge that you get.
Yeah, always.
Always.
And as you said, that even though you work a lot on mental training, it's not that you just know what to think all the time. Of course, the feelings, you get the feelings, and sometimes you feel like everything is unfair and the world is against you and everything, and that's also normal. And I know that I learned during the mental training that you're allowed to feel down, and you just have to set an end to it. So it can be, at that point, I was allowing myself to be quite sad for several weeks because at that time it was really sad. But normally, if it's agility related, I normally maximum 30 minutes or something like that, and then I have to change your mindset and just race up again. So I feel it's important to also be allowed to stay in the feeling you really have and be a little angry and be a little disappointed, and then you just have to change either in the evening or after 30 minutes or something.
Yeah, I agree. It's one thing that is important is that when you look at the framework of mental training, it's like if you can do this all the time, you're not human anymore in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's challenging. We are humans, and we often and go back to our default setting, and hopefully we sort of go from our default setting to the setting that we know that we should be in, and that comes with training. And I continually go back to default.
We all do. We all should do.
Yeah, being pissed off and angry and disappointed and thinking about the outcome, and pulling myself into the mud. But then suddenly a voice comes and says, aha, didn't you read a book about this?
But it's not comfortable being in the mud for a long time, but you appreciate not being in the mud even more if you're there sometimes.
True. You need the ups and downs in order to put things in perspective. And I think it's like if when you got on the podium, let's just when you're on the top of the mountain when it comes to the world of agility, like did you ever reflect back into the valleys of the past and the journey you'd had?
No, I'm really bad at that. I was thinking, actually, I was quite sad because I was really happy. And you know, the feeling, what we just said, that when you're in the mud you are allowed to be there for 30 minutes and then you have to move on. I did the same with the feeling I had when we won ABC. So allow myself being happy for maybe 1 hour, and then I was like, okay, now I have to focus because tomorrow it's the final run. And looking back, I didn't slip. My shoe got stuck in the final, and we didn't get any falls from that. And that was not the reason why we got faults later on either. But looking back, I should have appreciated a little bit more. And what you asked me here is that if I did reflect on our road there, no, I didn't. I was just looking forward, looking at the prize that the day after it was the final, and you just, yeah, move forward. Yeah. And that's a little sad because I wish I was enjoying it a little bit more.
That's a balancing act to appreciate the moment and the achievements, and then getting back into the game in terms of focusing on what you need to do. It's not easy, but it's doable with training, I guess.
Yes.
In terms of it, one of the questions that I ask a lot of people coming on this podcast, or I think it's everyone, is that what is the most valuable lesson your dog has taught you that no coach ever could?
It's a hard question. Uh, must be appreciation. The dogs are just showing up day after day, no matter the mood you are in, and giving the best every day. They do really like bring the feelings you have from the other day or whatever into the new day. They just wake up and are just as happy, and they don't care about you having a bad day or if you had a good day. They are just the best companions ever. So appreciation, being like, I feel sometimes just lucky that they are in my life and filling it with so much love and joy.
Yep, I agree. I one time I asked a guy called David Allen. He's like a productivity coach, world famous. I got the honor of meeting him. He had dogs, and we were exchanging dog photos while we were sitting eating dinner. And then I asked him, why do you get a dog? Like, why did you get a dog? He said, there are two things. They open your heart and they take you for a walk.
Yes,
And I think
that's
I
also
really
good.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that. They're just always waking up a new day and just thinking it's a new day. But me sometimes wake up and just thinking of the day before, and then you bring the feeling back into this day. If you don't start with, um, you don't start a new day, just the new day. So I think that's the most important learnings from the dogs.
Yeah. But you also, you, you still have a lot of dogs. You're still running. You now have changed
Yeah.
from Key, Ewi, Chi, and now you
Yes.
have Jet.
Yes. Now I have Jet. She is actually a son after we. So I thought that, okay, I have my dream dog. I just want another one. I got a son after him. He is absolutely nothing like we in any way. So, and unfortunately, he had jumping issues. So, not early takeoff, but it looks similar. So after a lot of trying, he came to grade 3 and stuff like that. But he was injuring himself, and I didn't want him to do that. I want him to live a healthy life, so I took him out of agility. And then, yeah, Jet is my competition dog right now. He have also challenged me mentally a lot because he's, in my eyes, not born. He's not very athletic. He can't even jump into the car. He's not even able to jump that far. Uh, I don't understand how he can be as good in agility as he is. But it was challenging for me getting this tiny, tiny dog. He's just below 30 centimeters. He's 4 kilos. Going from that was just my dream dog. Everything was easy. To Chi, that I have to give up, let's say like that. To Jet, that was quite hard work. He's super smart, but we always joke about him being a little autistic. So if you trained him uh, on a jump, for example, and then he was really good, he was taking it very fast. So we can challenge him a lot. He had good commitment and he was really easy to train that way. But if you change the picture, so if I change the picture to say that, okay, now you have to go on backside, and he was just like, nope, I'm not going to train with you. You're a terrible person. You can't do this. You can't change this picture. And it was like that with every new task. It was just very hard because he didn't trust me the way that we trusted me. So when I showed we a new task, he was like, oh, okay, if you say it's like this, it's like this. But Jet always had this, he always have this question mark, always. Why? And what if this and what if that? So if the sun is on that side, it's not the same as if the sun is on that side. Uh, so it was quite hard mentally in a period, and I tried to work on it, but it's not like a switch. So it's not that you can just say to yourself that this is how you should feel, and then you're feeling it. So I knew how I should, what I should have done, and what I tried to do, but it was really hard. And actually, Beate was one of the ones, and Sarah was one of the ones that kept me motivated, because Sarah was also not born a star. I remember seeing her running grade 1, and I thought to myself that, oh, that must be hard getting Sarah after Zelda, because she was not very fast, and she was not like, yeah, the born star. And then she developed so fast and into this amazing agility dog. So I could see that even if the dog is not like born like this, if you work a lot, you can still get the dream dog or a very good team. So she motivated me to keep on working, and after several years, we have developed now. Now I feel that we have a connection and a really, really strong bond. But it has been hard, both in training and mentally, to think that this dog is able to do. Again, you're back to the results, and it really annoys me because I really want to think about the performance. And yeah, now I'm back. I'm calmer, and I think I'm happier with his performance, not thinking about the results that much.
The results is also a way to measure progress, and we kind of need
Absolutely.
progress as well in order to justify the amount of training and effort you put in. And I would like to say that, like, the same thing you thought about Sarah is kind of the same thing I thought about you and Jed. And
Really, yeah, that's good.
and
Or maybe
and
not. I don't know.
seeing sort of the effort you put in and not giving up and just pushing through it. And it's like the speed that he has now, like this season, he has had tremendous
Yeah, he has
improvement in
developed
speed.
so much. Yeah.
But he's also
He-
competing in Norway, which is like the small categories is it's just super hard to compete in. It's not easy.
yes. We have a very high level of small dogs in Norway. So we have kind of every competition is kind of a small world championship every time, because you have the same competition that would be in the world championship. So that has of course been one of the factors that made it hard for me with Jet, because he was really not like a bad dog at all. He was just like an average dog. But then you have this competition that reflects that he's worse than you. I don't know. He wasn't as bad as I was thinking. It was just that the competition was really, really, really good. Uh, but it has been a journey, and I really, when you switch again your mindset into, okay, but it was good for me. It was good for me to learn that you have to just work with the dog you have, because that's the dog you have. He was my only training dog. He was my only competition dog. I just have to do the best out of it. And as you said, start to measure him against him and not looking that much on the result lists. So I started to look more on his development. And of course, you need to also measure towards the competitors. So I always looked at, okay, so when he started running, he was 4 seconds behind. And then when he was 2 seconds behind, I was like, oh shit, that's really good. So not thinking that 2 seconds behind is bad, I needed to think that, okay, but we have improved 50%, and that's good.
Yeah, it's really good, and I think that one of the things that you're not taking into account is also that the competing dog could also have improved.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
They have. Also, they have.
yeah,
Both of them, both Sarah and Augie has also developed a lot. That's two of the dogs that I have been measuring up to. And but I also think it's also a good thing. I think without that competition, I wouldn't have gotten that much potential out of him. First of all, I think it was a good thing that he was my only competition dog. So I didn't have any other choice than to put all the work into him. Second of all, I think yeah, it's just being able to see how much he could develop, and our relationship also grew a lot more when I changed my mindset to let's have more fun, let's see what we can do together than just looking at the competitors.
yeah. It's I remember when Eli had Easy, she was doing a seminar with Jan Egil. He came with one of his good quotes saying that, Eli, you don't always get the dog you want, you get the dog you need.
Yes, yes. Yeah, she was not very easy.
Easy wasn't easy. We
Easy
called her
wasn't
Jiffy.
easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
sometimes.
fun.
But it's yeah, it's cool, and it's also for you and Jet. It's been fun to watch from the sideline the development, because I could only imagine how much work it took, and that is it's always, I think it's sometimes more inspiring to see a dog trainer taking, let's say, an average dog to make it really, really good and sort of draw out most of the potential. That is what I sort of think is a good dog trainer, and never gives up their dog, and enjoys the sport in doing that, rather than getting like a unique dog that is made for agility and going all the way to the top. So
Yeah, so I always say that we made me the handler I am today because he learned me a lot of handling. But all the other dogs made me the dog trainer I am today. So he didn't help me much of developing as a dog trainer, but all the others really did. It has been hard work, and it's still hard work. Jet is he's not the dog that runs into the forest. He just walks behind you, and it's just all my friends call him the cat. He's not showing a lot of emotions. He's just there. He's not doing anything wrong. Um, he's not doing anything. So he's just walking behind you. So you really have to put in the effort to get him to run, to get him into the right condition. When he was a puppy, he didn't want to eat food. So I was not able to train anything of strength training or trick training. He just wanted a toy. So I've learned everything he know with toys. And it has been challenging, but it also you develop as a dog trainer.
yeah, cool. That quote is going into the beginning. But what is next on your journey? You know.
The next on my journey is, of course, the tryouts. So I've heard that you say that after every AVC you start on zero. And of course, I didn't qualify this year, so I took the Norwegian Championship, the Norwegian Open as my AVC, and we did really good. So that was really fun to see and measure towards other dog and see that we have developed the way I thought we have. And also the tryouts this year with him was really good. I think we were on a really good place. Even though he was injured, unfortunately, last year she was injured in September, and that put him back. He was doing his first competition again in February, so we lost almost a half year. So, of course, that I will not blame that, because I didn't feel that we were not prepared for the tryouts this year, and he ran better than ever. So it was a strange feeling on the tryouts this year, feeling so happy with our runs, but the results was really not there. So we didn't have any results over the whole weekend except the last run, and it was quite strange because I was really happy with our performance. We had a lot of bars, and that's how it is in this sport. So moving towards the next tryout, I'm trying to build him even stronger now that we have had an off period and it's not that many competitions. So trying to build even more muscles and condition. And my work is to start mentally prepare for the tryouts again, and looking at courses and analyze them and everything. Try to be as prepared as we can be for the tryouts this year or next year, 2020.
Yeah, preparation is key.
Yes, so that's gonna be our road now. But I also think the experience I got from this tryout, you have to just look at every experience as okay. But now I'm even stronger. I remember once, the year we got the Norwegian, he was winning the Norwegian championship. Right before my turn, I was on the start line. The power went out, so we didn't have any. They didn't have to. They weren't able to take the time electricity, and then I needed to wait like 15 minutes. So they were just like, okay, we're trying to fix this problem. And I waited for 15 minutes, and it was only me left running. And I remember thinking, oh, well, that's good. Then I get to train on this as well. And that's what I think from the tryouts this year as well. Okay, well, we have now tried to not have a bad tryout. We did really good at the tryout, but it still didn't went our way. So now I have this experience as well. So it's a good thing. You're even more prepared for the next one.
That's a good reframing.
To have to, otherwise you would just stay in the mud.
Yeah, true. Very good. In terms of people that are listening to this podcast, where can they go to find you and follow you?
At the moment, it's mostly just on my Instagram, so it's just Ina Himle. I have some online classes, but at the moment it's just on Norwegian, so that's where they can reach out if they want to. So I hope with chat, but I have gotten many people saying it, but I hope that, because almost all of us doesn't have the dog that is born a star. So I hope that it's giving people motivation to keep on working and put in the work to develop.
I agree. I will definitely put the Instagram on in the show notes so people can find it there. And to you and I would like to say thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing your journey. It's been really fun. The time has just passed away.
Yeah.
So I have enjoyed it. And I think that a lot of people will relate to this story and use that as fuel in order to push them through difficult times and do the work that is necessary to get the progress they want. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here.
And that's it for this week's episode with Ina Himle. It's really fun to be back on track, to listen to other people's stories. And I actually would like to ask the audience here, like, who would you like me to have on this podcast? There are so many stories out there that I'm not aware of, even those that are very close to me and local, like Ina, that I know for many, many years. But if you have suggestions of people that I should have on my podcast, feel free to go to dogagility.com and just go to the contact section. Just write there who you think should be on the podcast. If you haven't yet subscribed to this podcast, I really advise you to do that. You can do that on any platform that you want, whether that is Apple Podcasts or if it's Spotify. You can also find the podcast at dogagilityperformance.com. And there are a bunch of resources there, as well as the daily champion newsletter, which gives you an affirmation and a task that you can do every single day. It's a great way to start your day to help you shape that mindset that you want. And then, of course, you can also go to check out the dogagilityperformance.com community. You also find that on our website, where we are a bunch of people learning together, challenging each other, and shaping new beliefs, new mindsets, and learning tools and skills that you can use so that you can stand there on the start line. It doesn't matter what competition it is. You're in sync with your dog. You're in the right place at the right time, and you're performing at your best. And that is my vision and hope for you guys, because that is the fun of the game. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Thank you so much, Ina, for joining and going outside of your comfort zone to share your story. Most of the guests here actually go outside of the comfort zone when I ask them to join this podcast. And I'm really grateful that they are not only willing to share their story, but being authentic and helping you, having a tool to support you along the way to build your growth mindset. So again, thank you so much. And then I see you in next week episode.